I want to talk about something that I don't think I definitely wasn't thinking about it a lot when I was started cover calls and started thinking about it a lot more recently. I don't think people when they first get into selling cover calls they think about a lot is you don't have to stay in the position the whole time. Um, you really just want to get maximum amount of premium and get out and rinse and repeat. Because essentially, what you're doing is you're putting the shares that you own um, to work for you. So, position I'm in right now, SMR. Obviously, market's been running down recently, so it looks like I got spray painted red. But so my DCA is 38.50. Sold a covered call for 44, which at the time was kind of close. To where I own the stock at, but the premium was high. So I made $510 worth of premium for just two covered calls, which is pretty good for a low cost stock like that. So what has happened is on the rundown, I've collected the majority of my premium right here. So instead of waiting for this thing to expire on November 14th, I just need to go ahead and buy this back for $21, get my stock completely back on uncontracted to the covered call, and then Monday I can go back to selling covered calls again. So if this thing starts running up, IV starts getting a little higher, and premiums increase, then you know I can start making more money again. I think one of the things that, especially for me, when I started selling covered calls, is like I wasn't going to touch this thing until after November 14th. Instead of watching it and seeing, okay, I've already collected the majority of my premium. I'm going to go ahead and buy this back and then move on to it. Because normally your strategy is, or my strategy's been like buy monthlies. So if I got the stock, I'm looking to buy or sell a covered call every month, depending on what the premiums are returning. Or if they're super high for a couple weeks, then I'll sell them for a couple weeks. But in this case, I owned it at 38.50. The current strike price at the time when I sold it wasn't 36. It's what it is now. And the premium was great. So I was making $510. If I ended up getting called out on it, I would get paid an extra $1,098. So it wasn't a bad little score to make $1,500, and you're essentially only risking $6,120. So the other option would be to roll it if you wanted to. So normally I think people, when they think about rolling their covered calls, they're rolling it to keep from getting called out. But when you roll it, you can roll it out and actually make money too. So say this thing was it was like sitting at 55 right now, and I was scared to death I was going to get called out on November 14th, and I wanted to roll it. So in Webull, you just come up here, create a rolling order. Now, one thing I will say, if you're selling synthetic covered calls in Webull, you can't roll. So the only way you can roll a covered call is if you own the shares. So in this case, I would go create rolling order. Say the stock price was sitting at, like I said, 50 or 55 right now, and there was no way I wasn't going to get called out on November 14th, so I wanted to roll it. That's normally when people roll, right? When they don't want to get called out. So you pick whatever date out you want. You hike up the strike price to give yourself a little bit more breathing room. And most of the time, you pay a pretty hefty fee for that. In this case, it's only $4 because the stock's down so much. But what you can do is you can roll this thing out further and actually earn premium depending on where you're sitting at in the stock. So SMR ran down pretty bad. So if I said instead of November 14th, I want to push this thing out a week, make a little bit more premium, and I'm going to lower my strike price because the stock's down at $30, I can make $122. In this case, that's our $202. In this case, it's not worth it, right? Because the IV is not crazy high. The stock's been running down. So it makes way more sense for me to just buy this back for $21, wait till Tuesday, Thursday of next week, See if the stock starts running back up, see if IV starts to increase. I mean, IV's not bad right now. And then start looking to see what strike prices and what dates give me better premium. But I just want to mention that that's one thing that I didn't pay attention to. Like, but say in this case with iron, there's no reason for me to try to get out of this. I'm paying almost half of the premium. I haven't earned that yet. So this is basically the premium that I got. And if I want to get out, I got to pay this to get out. So in this case, I just keep letting this thing run. You know, we're sitting at $63 right now. I'm in great shape. I got $7 to play with until the 21st. It might be something that I roll out further. It might be something that I just get called out on and keep the premium. So I would just watch this in your broker if you're selling covered calls. If this gets really, really low right here and you've already made the most of your premium, then just buy it back, and you know the stock starts moving again, you can get back in it. Because I mean, the thing with covered calls is collect your premium as quick as collect the majority of your premium as quick as possible, and then get back in another covered call, and put those shares to work for you. But just something I want to throw out there.